I'm David Cremades, and I'm the CMO from the bench. We are a Spanish mobile gaming company specialized in the development of sport manager games. In this slide, you can see the main KPIs of our company and the app icons of the most successful games that we have developed. We have been working with many official licenses, such as Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, Liverpool, Chelsea, and many other football clubs. We are also working with the NBA and with the NFL. We founded the company in 2008, and since then we have been challenging the competition of getting users to our games. It's a really trendy marketing topic at this moment, and it is a new form of marketing in which people have the ability to persuade someone to take an action. This is influencer marketing. And in this slide, we can see how your app can be known by thousands of users using some influencers over some social media channels. There are some examples using YouTube, Twitch, Snapchat, Instagram, and so on. It is obvious that it is really challenging to get users, and this is why it is necessary to seek and to test new channels on a daily basis. That's why we began trying influencer marketing 3 years ago, and we were really surprised with this cost-effective source of users. So I would recommend all of you to test it. But influencer marketing is not so new. It was created some years ago, but it wasn't until the last few years that it has grown significantly. We can see in this slide the volume of searches of the term influencer marketing according to Google Trend. Growth is evident. And just as an example, this is the user growth in Instagram, that it is the favorite channel for the most of influencers. Growth is also massive. And the industry, the influencer marketing industry, is growing a lot. Each day we can find more and more agencies to work with influencers. There are more and more platforms, and in this slide you can see the number of agencies created. And finally, business is growing. The volume of business of influencer marketing will double the size of this year, double the size of 2017. Okay, so now that we know what influencer marketing is, let's differentiate the ways of working with an influencer. In this chart, we can see a basic classification of 3 of them. The size of the circles represents the amount of work you need to run a campaign. The bigger it is, the more work you need. The size of the circle is also related with the cost of the campaign. The bigger, the cheaper. We have 3, as I told you, sorry. Working directly with influencer marketing is probably the way of getting a deeper partnership with him, but it is also really tedious, as it takes a lot of time. So working with platforms or agencies is probably the best way to save time, save you some headaches, and to have a more successful campaigns. Obviously, it is more expensive. And in this chart, we can see the classification of the kind of agreements that you can sign with the influencers. The size of the circle, in this case, represents the user quality. The bigger the circle is, the better the quality. We have, in the first circle, shout-outs, in which the influencer just mentions your app with a brief description. It is cheaper, but the bad thing is that the user won't receive all the information of your app, and he will need more information. We have also the gameplay or review, in which the influencer will take as much time as he or she needs to explain all the details and relevant features of your app. It comes at a high cost, for sure, but the user receives all the information needed to make a decision. From a user quality perspective, it is the best option. And visibility that refers to content very typical to large channels to do brand awareness, and the prices reflects that as well. It is more expensive. And what are the business models working with influencers? There are many different ways of working with them out there, but we have these basic three kinds of agreements. Fixed fee. It is the most preferred option for influencers because they will be paid no matter how the campaign performs. But it's too risky for the advertisers the most of the times. Cost per engagement or per view, I think that this is the more fair way to work with the influencers, as they are more involved in the performance of the campaign. And CPI. This could be the preferred option for advertisers, but the difficulty of attributing installs in influencer campaigns means that few influencers will accept this option. And I would like also to point out some differences between micro and macro influencers, because there's a common mistake when you are thinking about the size of the influencer you want to work with, and it is that working with large influencers is not always the best option in terms of cost effective. And this is because a micro influencer receives higher post engagement. Their view are more authentic people, and in the end, this means a higher conversion rates. Let's think for a moment why you follow a pop star. Is it because of his opinion? I don't think so. If he talks about a perfume, do you think that he actually likes that perfume? No. We all know that this is an advertisement. And this doesn't happen with an influencer, a micro-influencer. We follow them because we think that he's authentic. If he's talking about games, it is because we trust his opinion about games. And this is the difference between micro and macro. And let's recap some of the main advantages of influencer marketing. Lower CPIs. We have achieved some amazing results, having 0.003 cents per install with some influencers. Higher quality and higher retention rates, and this is because the user that downloads your app already knows all the information about your app, and this is really good. It's easy to run cheap and quick tests, unlikely the other UA channels in which you have to spend 10K just to test before optimizing. In this case, with 500, you can run a quick test. As you are generating content for your app, you are helping your app's visibility as well. And unlike other UA channels in which you are generating downloads the day of the campaign, in this case, you are generating downloads over the time. For instance, in YouTube. And that means that the CPI is dropping over the time. But not all the glitter is gold, and there are some important drawbacks as well. Agreements take too long. It's not the same as running a campaign in Facebook ads in which you place your creative, set up your budget, and click play. In this case, you have to deal with people, and this slows down the process. It is a very amateur industry, so there are not the standard processes, there are not agreed prices, so it takes time to deal with them. It's not easy to scale, because finding the right guy, the right influencer, takes time. Afterward, you have to deal with them. So it's not easy to scale to run several influencer campaigns. The results are difficult to predict. Sometimes you are pleasantly surprised with the performance, and sometimes not. And it is really difficult to do that attribution, because most of the users won't use the link provided to download the app. Let's see how you can face this issue, here you can have a couple of methods. The first one is very basic, is you have to define a baseline of daily downloads. And when you run the campaign, you see the uplift, and the difference is are the installs that you can attribute to the campaign. But this method is not valid if you are running several campaigns at the same time, where it happens the most of the time. In the second option, what we did was to find 3 or 4 different countries in which we were hardly generating installs. We choose some influencers from those countries, and we run the campaign. We provided the tracking link, and we see an uplift. You can see in the chart, the green installs were the tracked installs, and the yellow one were the untracked installs. All of them are attributed to the campaign. So what we calculated was a ratio between track and untracked installs. We did the same in several countries, and with that data, we can estimate the number of installs of all of our influencer marketing campaigns. But bear in mind that influencer marketing cannot have 100% accurate data. And some useful tips if you are thinking about running influencer marketing campaigns. Follower count is absolutely relevant. Focus on the engagement, that it is number of views or likes by the number of followers. Agree on a minimum level of performance. If you have a look at the channel, not all the posts perform the same, and you will be interested in be mentioned in one standard post at least, so you have to agree on a minimum. Be creative. Let your influencer creative freedom, because they know his audience. Let them to propose you something. Overall, the audience is getting used to this kind of advertising, so you have to be really creative to find a way to, as English people say, sell without selling. Choose the right influencer, a proper channel. If you are thinking to explain your product in detail, maybe YouTube is your channel because you have more options. If you are looking for something more visual, Instagram is the right option. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, there are many options out there. Always negotiate the price. In this industry, influencers are open always to negotiate. And create a clear briefing with all the instructions and all the information that cannot be missed talking about your app. It's really important because afterwards there can be problems. Set the goal of the campaign. It has to be really clear and measure it. And just to mention how we are now being creative, I would like to share what we are doing now with our influencers. Trying to find the best guys to talk about our games, we came up with the idea that the users that best know our games are our VIP users. So we started to contact them and to offering them the possibility to have their own channel. And we were surprised because the most of them are happy with that. They are happy to talk about the game, they're really engaged. And so this is what we are doing now. And that's it. I think that it's a good idea. We're providing them with some useful gadgets for the production. And I think it's a smart way of working with them. And that's it for today. I think it has been of your interest, and I wish you the best of luck in your marketing campaigns.